Okay, great. We are live now. Hi, everyone. Today we will be talking about our Little Project Manager certification and our journey. And also, we have our amazing guest, Reinaldo, joining us from Brazil. He was our first cohort member when we've been training and certifying our facilitators, and he's already have several examples of the workshops that he was running at his communities with the children. So yeah, welcome, Reinaldo. Happy to have you today with us.
Thanks a lot, Tana. Yes, I'm really, really happy to be here today and have this opportunity to share my experience in this journey.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and we're bringing here your amazing photo as a certified facilitator. Yes,
Mhm.
with your certificate, with your digital badge. So for all our certified facilitators, we are providing a digital credentials that's registered with the certified. And we also have on our website the register of all our facilitators and all our certified facilitators. So you open it, that page with yourself, and we will be having hopefully more and more examples like yourself. So congratulations. We would like to start with that.
Thank you. Thank you. I was so glad when we finished this process and I could start to work on that.
Yeah, before we will
Yeah.
go with your examples and the workshops, tell us about what was your impression from our training that Edward provided. Um, how was your journey throughout this program?
Yes. So first, my interest in the program was because I was looking for material or experience on how to approach kids with the project management, methodologies, this logic analysis, this kind of things. And then I was so glad or lucky to have someone indicate to me the little PM program, and then we start to get with you guys about that, and then the process to understand how you are providing all of these different experiences and challenges and way to guide the process with the kids. It was really, really nice and smoothly. So Edward explained everything. We discussed it about it. I was a little bit, anxious or a little bit scared to run my first workshop with kids because I'm not a teacher in this kind of in this age. I was a teacher before, but for adults in different programs, but not ever for kids. But the experience has been so amazing. How they are interacting, how the material help us to guide the discussions and direct the kids in the direction that they want, and how also is so useful to keep them engaged, interesting, working on these the different challenges we presented.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your feedback.
Mm.
So you've been mentioning that you've been having your first workshop, and I brought here examples of
Yeah.
project results from your first trial that you have done. How
Yes.
was it?
Yeah, that's the first the trial we did. So it was with five kids. So one of them was my grandson, if some colleagues from the school. They're about between 8 and 10 years old. Then we choose this theme of the flags because there's this excitement about the soccer, the football World Cup in the same time, and that was really, really interesting how they interacted with the material, how they created the things, how they discussed it, the colors, and then also to bring some history explanation about the flags, the countries, the meaning of the colors, everything that is behind the scenes to give them some understanding. And then to me, the most spectacular thing at the end was the question from one of the kids, when is the next? It was so good, and then they are really excited to bring the flags home. And also, I got feedback from their parents later. They really love it, the experience. They are asking for more. So, but we are planning how we can engage more with their school in the future to run some kind of workshop
Yeah.
again with the kids in that school.
Yeah, yeah, please do. And I remember you've been saying that I will pick the workshop that is about creating the flags, because the World Cup is coming, and
Yeah.
everyone been so excited to look forward for all the footballs and the teams and everything around it. I remember you've been preparing. How useful have been to use the materials of our training, but also the materials of our unit, like implementation guide and the project pack, to run your first trial.
Yeah, yeah. I think the material give us some very good direction in a very simple way. I think that's the challenge, how to translate this. The team, the work, they're working together, leadership discussions, tasks to be task oriented, the targets at the end. That's I think the most important part when you use the material, because the material is so simple, is so direct, it's so easy to them to understand, and also give them some kind of example how to do it. And to me also in this particular case, what is important was the meaning behind the work. It's not just about to draw a flag. It's about to put in the flag what you want to express. That's why there's different drawings here. They discuss and decide. So they decide their own flag. I want to put this color, this kind of things because of this, because of that. So they put the meaning behind that. So that's I think was also very 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 good in this example here. But to me again, the material is so oriented, simple, that is easy to discuss with the kids. They can, uh, assimilate that very, very easy.
Yeah, I remember, Edward, when we've been designing this workshop, you've been talking about the global citizenship and the meaning behind the colors and the symbols that we've been adding there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm so glad to hear, Ronaldo, that it was easy to follow, and the fact that they used the examples and the other supporting resources, because we did think hard about this one. Because as a teacher myself, I know when I've done similar projects with children, often it's at the start of the school year when the children are getting to know each other, when the teachers getting to know the children. Teachers will often do an activity similar to this. However, it's very easy for the children to lose the overall target of the task, and they end up, as you said, just drawing pictures sometimes. Whereas I think what
Mhm.
your group was able to achieve, they really do look like flags, because we designed it in such a way that gets the children discussing the symbolism of the colors and the different shapes that are used as well. So I think it was absolutely wonderful timing that with the World Cup there. Um,
Mhm.
but it is, I think, to my mind, it is something that's a bit more refined than sometimes just letting the children completely take free reign. Because of course we're trying to find that balance all the time. We want the children to bring their creativity forward, and you can see that. But also we're giving them the structure so that they can achieve something that's really high quality. And I think possibly one of the reasons the parents would have been excited when they took these home is because they might have seen similar projects before, where the children have brought home things that aren't quite as impressive as this. So to be able to achieve such good quality products within what is actually a relatively short time period, I'm really pleased to see them myself,
Mhm.
actually. So um, hopefully other teachers, there might be teachers out there watching, or people watching who have teachers in their lives. So if they want to have a go at this as well, then obviously it is a fantastic one for the start of the academic year as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And Reynaldo, have you translated these materials to your
Yes.
language?
Yeah, exactly. I'm translating all the material that we are sharing to Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, then to make sure we have the right expressions. Sometimes they understand, is easier, of course, to them.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. I
Mm.
think we do have some photos as well of the workshops that's been following. If you can
Yeah.
talk about
The,
those as
the,
well.
yes, this is fantastic experience we had, and we are planning to come back now after Brazilian winter vacation. So they just finished last week. They're coming back to school this week. So in this case here, this photos was about we split the work in this group here, this institute, in three different steps. The first step, we give it to the children some introduction about what is a project, what is project management, what kind of concerns or what kind of activities are connected to a project. And then we did this exercise here with the tower game to bring them some competition about to build a tower. And the last one was about, again, to use the material from the little PM example, like the seat of tomorrow. So the experience here was really, really amazing because, in the tower game, it was fantastic how they are engaged to run the project, to decide how to build the tower, and then they finish. And then it was fantastic to see some of the kids take the tower. I need to give. Can I take this home? I need to show to my father, to my mother, this kind of things. And again, asking for more. And then when we draw, to me, one of the most important, impacting things when we did the exercise of the seat of tomorrow, that was the last exercise we did using the little pen material. So we didn't have enough material to really build a seat of tomorrow or something like that, but they draw in this in the big paper, and then they discuss it, they select it, following the instructions we shared, we discuss about that. Firstly, what is a sustainable city? What could be expected of a city that is, technology oriented, sustainable, environmental, to give us a good quality of life of these kind of things. And then at the end of the work, when they finish, and then now we ask them to present. I was expecting they're going to be very, very shy, or that no, they are so proud to bring the draw in front of everybody and explain all the four groups. It was. I remember when I was a kid, I was so shy to talk in front of the people. And I was an adult in my career, in the beginning of my career. I was always so nervous. It was a challenge for me to make sure I can speak about my project in front of a large audience. But they're so natural. They're so excited to share what they did. That was fantastic. So that's now we're planning to come back in this organization. We're looking for some sponsorship or how we can really do a long-term project for them, because this institute here in the city that I live in, Joinville, Brazil, they are really, really making a difference in this neighborhood, because they are receiving kids when they're not in the school. If the kids go to the school in the morning, they're there in the afternoon, and vice versa. Bring some extra activities. There are some teachers there. They're all volunteers. So that's really, really, really a good example how we can transform lives using this kind of approach, using this dedication, bring education to improve how we can, help the kids to learn, to have access to the different things.
Yeah, no, that's really amazing. And what was the age of participants here?
Yeah, this group here, the group that we work with, they are around 10, 11 years. So they're a mix of something between 9 and 11 years, something like that.
Yeah, and I think you point out very, very right that when they involved in the activity and when they invested in the activity, like drawing and putting all of that ideas on paper on what the city of tomorrow can look like, they have what they can talk about. So that's exactly the skills we would like for children to build, that they will be talking about it, they will be taking an initiative, they will be brainstorming, working in a team. It's really amazing. Any other surprises that you have seen when they've been working in a team?
I think to me, I think one thing was this engagement. All the time we are discussing, we are debating, we are when we try to introduce some kind of explanation, trying to make these activities really, really hands-on, but at the same time trying to discuss. And then when they start to work in the groups, also try to support them to make sure there's a participation. Every member has a voice. How you discuss, how you manage some conflict inside the group. No, I want blue, I want
Yeah.
red, or something like that. No, that's not important. So okay, let's discuss. Let's try to decide. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things also that was important when we work with this group here with these kids. That to me it was a good experience also to them to understand how it is to work in a group. How can I participate? How can I be engaged? And also, some of examples of leadership that you can see. Some of them I always raise the hands. I'm the leader. No, but leadership is not to me. Leadership is not decide. It's not dictate. Is
Yeah.
supporting. It's
Yeah.
collaborative. That's the thing. But the way that they are able to discuss and understand that together, and then
Yeah.
the result that they arrive at the end was really, really fantastic.
Yeah. What about yourself? Have you felt more confident running this workshop after the trial?
Yeah, I need to confess, or I need to admit that in this group here, I have one local teacher helping me
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's 20 kids or 20, even more in some out of the exercise. And then
Yeah,
this
of
guy
course.
was fantastic also, Manuel, the name of the guy that was working for me there. He was fantastic also. I was really, really afraid of, I said, oh my God, I will be there, talk to these kids, 20 kids, you know. But to me, it was so, I have this kind of feeling in the pleasure to say, Professor, please. So they start to call me as the professor, like the guy, but okay, let's talk about it. In this moment, I'm teaching, I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was scary. But when I saw how they're open to listen, to discuss, to participate, then it became much more easier to go there. To let's run the next step. Let's do the next activity. It was fantastic at the end.
Yeah. And I think you've made it very well when you've adapted the City of Tomorrow unit to the materials that you had, right? Because there are
Yeah,
so many ways how you can run this workshop. You can run it by drawing the city on the paper, by using the cardboard or any of the materials that you can build on. And also we have been doing it with the Lego as well. There are so
yeah,
many ways how you can adapt it. So it's not necessarily you should buy or find the Lego pieces and
exactly.
run it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's one of the things. I think the important thing is that how we can make this interactive, how we can make this, they can put hands on, they can have the hands dirt with something. It could
Yeah.
be, crayon, it could be a paper, it could be Lego, as you said. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different possibilities to challenge them.
Mhm. Yeah, and it can be also for the teachers, right, Edward? They don't necessarily need to have something to make it to run
Exactly,
the
yeah.
workshop.
Because I think what we're focusing on is all the skills that Ronaldo's mentioned already. The leadership, the teamwork,
Mhm.
resolving issues within a group. They're all the skills that we're trying to build. And obviously, we want the children to experience that collaborative learning and build those life skills. And it is valuable when children are actually making something. But the specific material doesn't really matter because they can build the skills that we're trying to impart with anything really. And and we've suggested a few different ways, as you say now, we've run it with Lego, but there's ways you can just do it with the crayons and paper, as Ronaldo said, or other materials as well. You can bring it into recycled materials, collaborate if it's within a school, collaborate with the DT department. So the actual physical materials aren't as important as the skills we're building. And I think, sort of going back to what Ronaldo said, that at the start, if you are doing this for the first time, or if you're working with a large group of children for the first time, it can be quite scary. Even as a teacher, the first class of the year when you don't know the
Yeah,
children is always a bit intimidating. But if you've got an activity where the children are taking leadership, if they're in charge of their own learning, they are really likely to engage, and you get to know them. You get to see how they interact with each other, and very quickly it's less about you being at the front and it's more about the children. And as we are calling the people we're training here, they are facilitators. They're there to facilitate the learning, but the children themselves are the ones who are actually leading it. So I think as soon as you start, then I think the any nervousness does go away, because it's all focused on children.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm so happy to see here on your photos so many smiling children. They naturally enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And then I think on the next slide we do have some other photos. Those being a
Yes.
bit older students,
Yeah.
right?
It was a different thing. So one thing that happened here was when I started to share the work. I shared the work I was doing in the colleagues that I have part of the PMI chapter here in Santa Catarina.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ask, oh, this is good. And one of the guys said, oh, Reinaldo, have an opportunity. We create a network. We started to know each other. They see the potential to do this kind of work. Then I was introduced to this project, Projeto Resgate or Rescue Project, or if you translated the name. But this project is, they have a different purpose. So they support kids with scholarship in some very important schools here, very strong schools, very good schools, with extra activities, in different areas. They have extra lessons on different days of the week, on Saturdays, about technology, about mechanics, about aviation, a lot of different teams. And then they have also a partnership with the university. So the university send our students from the university, they can support as a mentor in these programs. So they bring material, they explain to the kids, for instance, how to create an app in a computer, how to develop something in different program language. It depends on the level. So, and then this event was really good because it was the closing of the year, the first semester. And then the responsible for this group, that is Monica, she invited me. Why we don't do a different exercise? We put the kids as a leader in the group, and the students, not only students, so also some professional from different companies that are sponsoring this program. They will be the team members. Then we have a session, talk to the kids, explaining to them. Then we introduce again the seat of tomorrow as an example. I think it was a very important theme that could be debated in this group. So we discussed with the kids, we explained to them what we are expecting from them as a leader in this group. They're quite nervous in the first moment, so we have 2 sessions explaining in the day when it happens in the morning. So the adults here, or the students and the professional guys, they didn't know anything about it. It was a surprise for them. So they're there for the closing, the ceremony of the closing of this first half of the year. And then they were, okay, guys, we have a surprise for you. Now you need to work. Now you have this, I think it was 5 kids to work together, and the other 3 in the different groups as a leader in this project. So they introduce the challenge, they introduce what should be done. So then in this case, they have a different set of materials that was distributed to this group. You have some Lego here, have some wood piece here, have some different thing, the different set. That was the result at the end was so surprising and so nice, because we have different sets. Nothing was the same basically. So they need to work what they have in their hands, And the kids was so natural at the end, because they are so nervous before, during the exercise. They are so natural, working with the groups, discussing, driving the exercise, using again the material, creating the project charter, discussing the tasks, summarizing at the end what was the lessons learned, and so on. Was really good. Now again, this is also another example where we're discussing how to move forward. Now this after the winter vacation in this group, to introduce this in more long term, into the program that they already have there.
Wow, that's I think very very amazing and unusual example that you're presenting when the children have been the leaders of the team,
Yeah,
of the adult teams, and I think that's the beauty of experiential learning. When you are engaged with the materials and different medium, and when it is structured, then everyone who is sitting on the table, they are part of the team, and regardless of the age, you are involved in the activities, and you can run it.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
it can really
and
surprise you sometimes who's going to um, act as the team leader. And I know when I've done this before, I've been quite surprised when it's been classes that I've known well, and certain groups decide on someone as the leader. And as a teacher, I've been a bit surprised that that person's sort of taken the initiative to be the leader. However, they've been fantastic, and it just goes to show that if you give children or anyone opportunities like this, you can be really positively surprised by the skills that they show, because often in
Mm.
schools they don't have the opportunity to learn in this sort of way, in this sort of context. And by doing activities like this, it just opens up exposure to different sorts of skills, and you learn something about the students you're working with as well. So it's a really positive experience for teachers.
yeah. And how been that the children have they presented at the end their projects? Have been they proud of what they've been building?
Yes, of course. And then when they finish, we go table by table. They explain the project. We asked to the team members some feedback about the kids' leadership, how they
Mm-hmm.
were there, how they collaborate. It was also really really interesting, really really good.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Have you had any unusual examples of what do they think the city of tomorrow should look like?
Most of the exercise was going in the same direction. But what was interesting is how they approach the theme from different perspectives. So
Mm-hmm.
some examples, they're focused on water, for instance. Okay, how we have, water treatment, clean water, or, this kind of things. Some of
Mm-hmm.
them were more focused on quality of life. Oh, this city, we must have a park, we must have this, we have a school, with
Mm-hmm.
open area, these kind of things. But that's the kind of approach that we saw when they finished. They don't have the same approach. They look from different perspectives, trying to address different challenges that we have. For instance, some of the one of the funny thing was, oh, this is the solar panel. Can't you see it? It's so obvious. No, yeah, I'm looking for this piece of. Yeah, of course. Sorry, my bad. I
Yeah.
couldn't identify the solar panel. This is the solar panel.
Yeah.
But these kind of things that we had at the end. So trying to say it's so obvious that okay, this is how it works. Some of them they create some kind of flow in the city. Or
Mm-hmm.
this is the energy where the energy is generated. This is the solar panel. This is the electric bus going to the school.
Yeah.
These kind of things. No, it was really really fantastic exercise.
Yeah, and I think that's a great work of imagination as well, and the
Yeah. Yes.
creativity that
Exactly.
they put
Indeed.
together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Edward, remember you've been talking on the training about learning from others. I think that it's the amazing example of that pedagogical aspect as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of the sort of core theories that we have at Little PM is social constructivism, and the idea that um, if you're working with a group, there can be that more knowledgeable other. That's from Vygotsky's theory. And often in a traditional classroom, like we think that the teacher is the more knowledgeable other. They're the person who's going to have the answers. They're the person who's going to have the skills. Whereas actually in this context, when you're putting together people, sometimes they might not know each other, but it's that process of discovering what skills everyone has, and the fact that everyone in the group is going to have something that they're going to be the
Mm-hmm.
best at, and they're going to be able to impart that. And it's a real exchange of ideas and skills. So rather than children working completely isolated and it's just sort of 30 children and the teacher, by working in the groups, they're learning from each other. And that's what we want. Of course, the teacher or the facilitator is there as well. And sometimes their role will be to step in to provide that extra bit of information. But we want these skills to emerge sort of more naturally and socially, and for the children not to always think that the teacher's the only person they can go to. That it's about recognizing the talents and the skills of others, and I think that's what makes this approach very inclusive, because there might be somebody who isn't as shy or isn't as confident academically, but they will have something that they can absolutely contribute to the project. And Ronaldo was mentioned there the fact that they were reflecting at the end, and that's such an important part of that as well, because you're recognizing what skills everyone brought to that particular project, and then going forward, if the best thing is if those people are able to participate in another project, if it's a series of school clubs, then they can build on that every time, and people start to recognize each other's skills, and you get a much stronger sense of community than you might ordinarily do with a big group of people who don't know each other.
Yeah. What are your plans next, Reinaldo? Any other workshops that you're planning to do next?
Now I'm trying to make these create programs that I'm submitting some ideas locally here, try to get more schools and even the city education board. I presented these ideas to the local city education board, waiting for some feedback, trying to engage more schools in this work. And at the same time, I work with this the project here about this the workshops for kids in the high school to support this kind of problem solving for sponsorship from the companies. That's the main things I'm looking for, what to do next. And also I think in the Hope Institute, together also with this group here, how to have a long-term preparation. I think it should be good to address the different, as you have in the framework, Nara, the different aspects of education, working in teams, leadership, this kind of things. So perhaps we can address this more, consistent way, during the coming months with these groups, to take some particular topics and help them to develop those different areas.
Yeah, and you can also look to other units that we have provided,
exactly.
and try to run them. And if Edward, if you can go to our skills framework,
exactly.
Reinaldo was talking exactly about those. So each of the units can combine in itself different sets of the skills. So the more diverse you will go with the topics and the units that we're providing, the other combination of the skills you can cover there, like resilience, adaptability. All of them have a reflection and self-assessment, collaboration part, but they would have a different opportunity to communicate about it by writing or by speaking about it. And they can apply a different skills like creativity and innovation, or to learn about the local culture or the global culture, right? Similar to what you have done with the flags. So you do have an access to different units, and please do use them, organize on the different setups with the different children's. I believe that they will surprise you more on those workshops that you would be running. And we're so glad to hear that you kicked off your journey as a facilitator, and it's going so successful now. Have you heard anything from the project management community that we have?
Yeah, we are discussing. I think I'm debating with this group. We are discussing the possibility to include this as a program, part of the chapter for the next year. And then we're going to have officially be sponsored by the chapter to make sure we can address this area also. As I mentioned to you, there is next month we're going to have this the conference here in the city where I live, and then I was invited to present this work in another conference I think it's November, where the focus will be education. And then I think that's going to be a more the audience will be more interested to listen from this kind of material there. Then for different areas of not only private companies but also from the government that will be you participate. Then we will different projects that we are focused on education, how to prepare our young to be our leaders of tomorrow, or
Yes.
to be successful in anything they do. It doesn't matter the level. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's exactly our mission, to prepare
Yeah.
the children for the next all the changes that life will bring us in the
Yeah.
future. And we believe that developing the core skills for them
Yeah.
is so important. So they would have so many opportunities to apply them, and that they would be so much more successful in the life. That what we believe. And we hope that with the help of yourself and the other facilitators and the
Mhm.
teachers, our mission will progress there.
And I think it's something that people internationally are thinking about. I mean, we've talked in the past about how our skills here, they're actually very closely linked to the World Economic Forum's their Education 4.0 initiative, because there's a real push there from researchers and sort of industry leaders that education does need to make sure that it's preparing children for life. Obviously,
Yeah.
the academic part of education is really important, but these skills here and in the Education 4.0 framework, they are skills that's going to make sure that children are resilient and they're able to adapt to whatever the world will look like when they're ready to sort of enter the world of work. So the earlier we start this, I think the better chance we're giving the children.
Exactly.
Amazing. Yes, thank you, Reinaldo, for sharing your experience as a
Mhm.
facilitator, and we
Mhm.
are really looking forward to
Yeah.
hear from Fatma as well, from Elitsa. So they are continuing their journey, and
Mhm.
hopefully they will be certified soon as well.
Mhm.
Fatma, Elitsa, if you hear me,
Mhm.
please join Reinaldo here and complete your journey with the certification. And
Mhm.
we will be very glad for more people to join us here and to be trained by us and to start similar journey and start teaching the project management skills for your community children, for children around
Mhm.
you. And yeah, Edward, if you can go to the next slides. Yeah, our program is open to different professionals, for project management professionals like Reinaldo, or to trainers, or for everyone who would like to share their knowledge. For educator, of course, and for those educators who are more open-minded and who are looking for similar programs to enhance the skills of the children, for the parents who would like to use it for their communities, and also for the homeschooling, home learning, and who would like to include similar units and the project management experiences for their children. And we will be having we are having now our second cohort. We have four facilitators now who we are training, and we are planning to have the next one in September. um, Edward, if you can move to the next pages. Yeah, so we'll have a next cohort in September, end of September. So we'll have here also shown the journey. So we will be training. Then we will be asking to run the trial workshop, the similar one that Reinaldo ran with his grandson and his friends. Then, of course, we are having a reflection session where we hear from the new facilitator any questions, anything that we can help with. And then, of course, we are providing the certificate itself. Yeah, and thank you, Reinaldo, a lot for joining us today. Any last thoughts that you would like to share with us about our certification?
Mhm. Yeah, so just to share a little bit about what brought me here today, and what brought me to this work. So I have this strong. I really, really believe that we need to change education. We need to make sure we can offer to our kids more and more. With a different approach to open their mind, to make sure they understand there's a lot of possibilities. So when I start this journey, I think about it. How can I perhaps teach project management to kids? Because mostly everything we do, or most of the things we do in our life, even though you don't think about it, is some kind of project. Vacation, many things. And then the program that you guys created, and the material that is fantastic, is so well designed to engage with them, to make it easier for them, make it easier for us to translate sometimes technical terms, or how to think in a structured way to achieve a goal in a very, very easier and friendly way for kids in the different ages. I think that was the most important thing I found in this material with this group, and then during this certification journey, to help me to understand how can I bring my experience, how can I bring the knowledge that I have today, how transform it in a way that we can really engage and work with kids in these different ages, that they keep interested and engaged to participate.
Well, thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. I mean, that is something that we've been striving to do, is to design the materials in a way that makes it easy for the people, because the easier we make it, then the more people will feel confident in using materials, and then the more children will get these experiences. So just to let people know that when we run these programs, when we run the facilitator training, we do start off giving you the pedagogical guidance. We help you understand why we do things the way that we do, give you a bit of advice on how to manage the classroom, how to sort of it's a bit of a crash course in teacher training almost, and giving you that background of how to work with children. We'll give you the framework as well. We've looked at those units, looked at those 10 skills already. We'll give you units that are ready to run. That would include everything. It would be the digital slides, an implementation guide for you as the facilitator, just a bit of specific guidance on each of the projects. And then, of course, the actual physical materials that the children will need in terms of the project packs that Reinaldo's talked about already. And then once you've been able to run your workshop and we've had that final session with the structured feedback, then you will get your official certification. And you saw the digital badge at the very start of this session. It's an ongoing support network as well. You'll be in a cohort with a few other people, but Anara and I will be here, and Little PM is there to support you as you carry on trying out each of the different units that you have access to as part of the training. And we're there with more units to support into the future if that's something you're really keen to pursue as well. Reinaldo's talked to us about two of the units to begin with: the Design Your Own Flag and the City of Tomorrow. But the facilitator training does include access to 6 units straight away. So depending on who you're running this with for the first time or what the context is, you can choose one that would be the best fit for your community. But then they're all there for you, and each one provides all the resources, and we provide the specific guide for that unit as well. And if you're not sure which one to pick, then at the bottom, each of them has those indicators for what age range we think the most suitable for, how long it would last, and if it's linked to particular curriculums or frameworks. So a lot of our units link to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In terms of the curriculum, it's excellent for supporting the IB system of learning or different local curricula as well. So if you are doing this in connection with the school, for example, as an after-school club, we can we've already made sure that they are linked to lots of official curricular and framework worldwide. But if you've got any questions about adapting it to your local context, that's where we can help you as well. Just to make sure that it's something that the teachers and parents really see the value of straight away, and they see why it's so useful and so beneficial for their children to be involved in something like this.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Edward, for covering this part. Yeah, and this is the QR link for anyone who would like to join us on our next cohort that we're planning to run in September. We are still keeping our prices at the low. However, we would like to include more units and more knowledge behind it. So we are thinking of including the safeguarding part to it. So the price will increase pretty soon. But I think this is the last one that we will be still keeping at this level. Okay. I think with that, we have covered quite a lot what we would like to talk about our facilitators and our certification. And thank you a lot, Reinaldo, for joining us today and sharing your experience. We are very excited and we are very glad that you kicked off your journey of the facilitator, and you've been so successful, and you've been using our units, you've been applying it, you've been looking into our materials, implementation guides, and the children of your community benefited from it so much. We're so glad to hear your experience, honestly.
Yeah, we just started, Nara. We are seeing a lot of
Yeah.
things happening in the coming months.
Yeah, please keep us informed,
Yeah,
keep
for
us
sure. I will.
posted. We will be following your LinkedIn page, and we will be looking forward for more photos and examples of your workshops and your speaking opportunities that you've got now to talk about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, thanks a lot. We will be finishing our LinkedIn Live with that, and we will be waiting you next Wednesday as we're kicking off the new season of the LinkedIn Live sessions that we're having. And on the next one, we will be talking about the anxiety that the children and the students might have before the new academic year will kick off, and we will be announcing our speaker soon as well. Thanks a lot for Rinaldo. Thank you, Edward, for hosting this live with me.
Thank you guys for having me here. I was really
Thanks.
glad to be the opportunity to share what we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.